Remember when everyone used Accelerator for everything? Like it was the go-to late game tower and it would actually feel like it made your games easier. Yeah, what happened to that? Accelerator, a hardcore tower that used to be the best DPS in TDS history. Everyone used to get this tower, and it made an actual difference in speed runs. Now, it's just around the same as any other tower except a bit worse. What went wrong with Accelerator? Did it got nerfed hard? Well, surprisingly, no. It didn't. Actually, it got buffed recently. It got more range and receives more DPS output from buffs because of the overcharge buff. What's even more weird is that this buff didn't change anything at all. The last nerf Accelerator got is either it lost 2.5 range at max level and a 2 max DPS nerf. There were some cost efficiency nerfs, but it didn't matter much when people just brainlessly get the max level. Accelerator used to be the best late game DPS tower in the game before. It shredded bosses like Void Reaver and Nuclear Monster quickly. It was also pretty cost efficient, which made it great for mid-game. Over months of Accelerator's dominance over the meta, it received a few slight nerfs to make it weaker. This didn't stop Accelerator from being the best tower. People were using it more over Pursuit and Turret since they were pretty mid at that time. Engineer and Ranger was Accelerator's competitor, but it was arguably outshined by Accelerator last year, until today. In early 2024, TDS started pushing out balance changes on a lot of towers more frequently, which slowly affected Accelerator's popularity by a bit. Accelerator still received a few slight nerfs, while other towers got a significant buff. But after Fallen rework came out, which features new and reworked enemies, more enemies that can stun towers, a lot of them. In addition, with the majority of the late game towers that got rebalanced, Ranger, Turret, Engineer, Golden Minigunner. I still find Accelerator better than Golden Minigunner most of the time, except solo, and probably duo. The buffs of these rebalances significantly made them better to the point that they can compete with Accelerator. After that, Accelerator finally fell off. After years of dominance, well, in total, Accelerator has fallen. Coincidentally, in the release of the Fallen rework. No wonder he got a Fallen skin. So, what changed in TDS if Accelerator barely got any significant nerfs? Well, first the meta changed. Originally, the meta used to be just a simple DPS meta where you pick the towers that can deal the most DPS. Now, it's different. The current meta is centered around towers that can deal decent DPS, very good range, and most importantly, stun immunity. Accelerator has nothing of this, except good DPS. Additionally, game mode reworks, specifically Fallen mode, greatly affected Accelerator's usage. Well, Accelerator is still fine in normal Fallen. But, Hidden Wave, it's a whole different story. Why does Accelerator feel worse on Hidden Wave? Well, it's because of the amount of enemies that can stun, and the frequency of those attacks. A simple single medic cleanse ability is sometimes not enough anymore. When the second Fallen Guardian can just swing his sword at a recently cleansed Accelerator for 1 millisecond. Add in that charge up after Accelerator gets unstunned, then you'll just get a charge raider that just charges up only to get stunned. What a grim experience for Accelerator fans. Another annoying change about enemies that can stun is that they've gotten smarter, and it's annoying. Say goodbye to the days where you can bait enemy attacks, which was quite strategic if you ask me. Now, enemies can target towers that aren't stunned and target groups of towers. Which is why Templar became so annoying. Another problem I found with Accelerator is tower combinations. One thing I found about stun immune towers is that the more there are of them that are viable, the more meta they become. Since you get to discard medic in your loadout, since you can easily get a fully stun immune loadout that can deal more DPS than Accelerator with better range. And Accelerator? You have Turret, which is viable and less susceptible to stuns depending on your placement, and a Golden Minigunner, which easily dies from stuns and have terrible range. Compared to team stun immune towers, you have Gatling, which has insane crowd control DPS with map-wide range. Perfectly balanced. Ranger that deals good DPS with map-wide range. An engineer that could literally deal the same amount of DPS as Accelerator except it's stun immune, and debuff immune since most of her DPS comes from sentries, which is a unit. All of the options in Team Stun Immune Towers are amazing compared to Stun Vulnerable Towers. You could say, why not just bring Accelerator with these Stun Immune Towers? Well, why would I? That means I would have to bring Medic or someone else who has 2, which sacrifices a slot when I could just get 2 Stun Immune Towers. Doesn't sound optimal, does it? You can ignore the Medic cleanse tactic if stun abuse isn't too annoying for you. So this is how Accelerator has fallen from the best DPS tower to an average DPS tower. Stun abuse, and more stun immune tower options, which also has excellent range for some reason. Don't get me wrong, it's still a good tower nonetheless. It deals enough DPS to shred enemies, it's just that it's far behind its prime anymore. And that stun abuse has been plaguing Accelerator. Stun abuse has been a general problem for a while, but more problematic to towers with a charge up or rev up mechanic, since their mechanic basically adds more stun time. So does Accelerator need a buff? For me, I'm kinda mixed. It could either get a DPS buff or fix the stun abuse problem in newly reworked game modes, or maybe add more towers like Accelerator where it deals good DPS with reasonable range. Ahem. That is stunnable like Accelerator. Do you still use Accelerator often? If so, how was the stun abuse going for you? And how would you make Accelerator better, either buffing the tower or changing the game overall? If you wanna buff it, let me know in the comments below. As always, like if you like the video, dislike if you don't, and subscribe if you want more videos like this. Thanks for watching.